Bitcoin just turned 16 years old. But what does that mean in the grand scheme of financial history? Can Bitcoin ever become the world's dominant reserve asset? Let's take a deep dive into the history of reserve currencies, gold, silver, the dollar, and see how Bitcoin fits into this story. Spoiler alert, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Let's start with gold. For thousands of years, gold was the reserve asset. It wasn't just a shiny metal, it symbolized stability, scarcity, and universal trust. The first gold coins were minted by the Lydians around 600 BC. From there, gold became the backbone of global economies, facilitating trade and wealth storage across civilizations. Fast forward to the 1800s, and gold's dominance was formalized with the adoption of the gold standard. This system pegged currencies to a specific value of gold, ensuring global stability in financial systems. Even today, central banks around the world hold massive reserves of gold. Why? Because it's timeless, tangible, and universally recognized. Gold has literally stood the test of time as a store of value. But gold wasn't alone. Enter silver. Alongside gold, silver played a key role in ancient and medieval economies. Its abundance made it more practical for everyday transactions, and it became a medium of exchange for ordinary people, while gold was often reserved for the elite. For centuries, silver and gold coexisted as the bedrock of trade. However, as nations industrialized and economies grew, silver's role began to fade. By the 20th century, gold and eventually fiat currencies replaced silver as the dominant reserve assets. While silver still holds some value today, its prominence in global finance is a thing of the past. Now, let's talk about the modern powerhouse, the US dollar. The dollar's rise began in the early 20th century, but its dominance was cemented after World War II with the Bretton Woods Agreement. This agreement pegged major global currencies to the US dollar, which in turn was backed by gold. The dollar became the cornerstone of global trade and finance. Then, in 1971, a monumental shift occurred. The gold standard was abandoned and the US dollar became a fiat currency, backed not by gold, but by the trust in the US government and its economy. Despite this, the dollar's dominance has persisted for over a century. Today, it remains the primary reserve currency, underpinning global trade, finance, and even geopolitical power. But cracks are starting to show. Inflation, national debt, and emerging alternatives are challenging the dollar's supremacy. Before the dollar, the title of the global reserve asset shifted across empires. The Portuguese real dominated during the Age of Exploration, funding Portugal's maritime expansion. The Spanish real followed as Spain's empire stretched across the Americas and beyond. Then came the Dutch guilder during the golden age of the Netherlands, financing trade and commerce across Europe and Asia. The French franc rose during the 18th century, particularly during the time of Napoleon, and finally, the British pound reigned supreme throughout the 19th century, backed by the industrial might of the British Empire. Each of these reserve assets played a crucial role in their time, but none lasted forever. History teaches us that no reserve currency is permanent. It's a cycle of dominance, decline, and replacement. And now, in the 21st century, we have Bitcoin. At just 16 years old, Bitcoin is still in its infancy compared to centuries-old reserve assets, but its potential is undeniable. Bitcoin is decentralized, scarce, with a hard cap of only 21 million BTC and secured by blockchain technology. It's the first truly global, borderless, and permissionless financial system. Despite this, becoming a dominant reserve asset is no easy feat. Bitcoin faces significant challenges. Regulatory scrutiny is a major hurdle, as governments around the world try to figure out how to classify and control it. Price volatility is another concern. No reserve currency can function effectively if its value swings wildly. And finally, there's the energy debate. Bitcoin's proof-of-work system requires substantial energy consumption, which raises questions about its environmental impact. For Bitcoin to achieve the status of a global reserve asset, it needs stability, widespread trust, and massive adoption. These are not overnight developments. They take years, even decades to build. Historically, shifts in reserve assets take a long time. Gold's dominance spanned millennia. The dollar has been king for over a century. Bitcoin's journey has just begun. But here's the good news. Bitcoin is growing. Its network hash rate, the measure of computational power securing the network, has been steadily increasing, reflecting massive investment in infrastructure. Adoption is also on the rise, with major companies, institutions, and even governments beginning to embrace Bitcoin. El Salvador, for example, has made Bitcoin legal tender, a move that could pave the way for broader acceptance. So, will Bitcoin become the world's dominant reserve asset? It's too early to say. What we do know is that Bitcoin has already changed the conversation about money, value, and financial freedom. Its journey is a marathon, not a sprint. And as history shows us, the transition to a new global reserve asset, if it happens, is a process measured in decades, not years. What do you think? Is Bitcoin on track to become the next global reserve asset? Or will it remain a niche store of value? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into Bitcoin, crypto, and the future of finance. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.